But now I'm being quiet now.
It's all fun and games till someone loses an eye.
Oh.
And it's just fun.
Well, you have to hunt around on the floor.
New game.
Oh, God. All right. Good evening. It's Friday, May 20th, 2022. Welcome back to BoomerRexTonight, your nearly daily source for news and politics. I'm RisenLadyHeathen. Hey, asshole, what separates our show from other millennial news podcasts?
I got another one.
We have a boomer. And not just, you suck at this.
Who's always being criticized by the two millennials.
Not just any boomer. We have Mr. Boomer Rex himself.
Poor downtrodden Mr. Boomer Rex. Good evening.
I'm for real gonna put you in a goddamn chains.
See what I mean? See the threats I have to live with?
You two eat, sleep, and breathe politics, and I'm learning that's 3 unique perspectives we share along with the facts from our literal round table. Let's dig right into our headlines. Tell me about this odd sea cucumber.
Oh, you have to go find pictures of this, right? So they're hanging around with one of those undersea rovers, right? They're 7,200 feet below the surface. And swear to God, what swims by is a shopping bag full of giant Cheetos.
Yes.
And it's a sea cucumber, and of course there's no light penetration at that depth. So being a color or not being a color means nothing. But it looks for all the world like a clear plastic shopping bag full of giant glowing Cheetos.
Bioluminescence, yeah.
I don't know that it's bioluminescent, but it's definitely bright Cheeto colored.
Okay.
All its little insides. Anyway, it's an amusing thing to see. And then it swims away.
Yeah, I would. Something just lit up down there.
Yeah. Well, that deep. How do you know you've been lit up? You might be aware something got warm from that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's kind of cool.
Because I was thinking the anglerfish, but that's not even that deep.
Yeah.
The angler? Yeah.
Well, if you're going to use a bioluminescent lure, you have to have victims who can see things.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is I
yeah.
just realized that deeper than that.
I'm still waiting for us to get some real good colossal squid videos on one of those rovers. That'd be fucking fun.
They've gotten a couple of halfway decent ones. Those are
I've
big
seen
fucking animals.
stuff where they drop the camera down, but I
Yeah.
don't feel like those go as deep as these rovers.
Well, they don't chase them around either, so.
Right. But that's my thing, is I feel like these
I don't
rovers...
think any of these things are really chasing around squid.
much, yeah.
I think they're scamperish.
Yeah. And I think if you catch one, you'll probably regret it, right?
Often that is not necessarily true.
What happened to your rover? Squid ate it.
All right. Ukraine war pulverized Germany's assumptions on engaging Russia. What? I didn't really understand what this story was.
So the German ambassador, well, this is the end of Russia. The German ambassador is pointing out that for decades, the German strategy rested on a fundamental assumption that interdependence would produce stability, predictability, and to some extent, even alignment.
Sell them jeans, get leverage.
And that's over.
Yep.
Right? They are cutting themselves loose from the Russians. They're not going to use Russian oil. They're not going to use Russian gas. And they no longer see any future of, coexistence and cooperation with Russia. Russia is an unreliable partner.
Yeah.
And to the extent that this is true and permeates the German economy, and right now they're spending money to make it true.
Yep.
This is doomsday for Russia. Right. This is
the stuff Putin can't fix in his lifetime.
Right. This is isolated forever.
Yep.
Right. So maybe you should learn to sing and dance. So screw the Russians.
Yeah.
They fucking earned this.
Yeah.
And hey, Russians, if you get tired of this, little pooty boy,
getting rid of Putin.
Little pooty boy, go right out a 4th floor window. No problem at all.
You've killed oligarchs before.
Yep.
All right. Texas resumes investigations into parents of trans children. Fuck you, Texas.
Yep. So the state Supreme Court overturned an injunction that blocked the state from doing exactly that.
Because
Right.
of course they did.
Of course. Right. So Department of Family and Protective Services is back to doing the investigations and so forth and so on. Just standard Texas Republithug stuff.
Yep.
So anyway, if you have a gay child in Texas, you should move to another state. You should take your business with you. You should take your assets with you. And on the way out, you should do whatever damage you can to Texas. And if that's as simple as not telling somebody a password, just walk away.
I am wondering if these families that are already being investigated might not be allowed to move. Kind of like the whole concept of they're trying to keep women from going over borders.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm sure the Republithugs will try that kind of thing. But again, you just get in your car and leave.
Yep.
Because there are a dozen states that will not extradite you to Texas. They will tell Texas to fuck themselves.
I hope.
Yeah.
Well, we'll pass the Fugitive Slave Act, or we won't call it that this time, but
we'll call it the Fugitive Normal Person Act.
There's a lot of the Democratic Party that still doesn't get the peace at any price. Luckily, one of them just lost his primary. Fuck you, Blue Dog Democrats. We're kind of...
Yep.
So
hey, Democrats, if you want to win this, you probably ought to start doing things for working folks.
For people
$24 an hour minimum wage. You want to do health care that people can afford, and you want to do affordable housing.
Yep.
And if you can't make some headway on that, you're as dumb as you look, Nancy Pelosi.
Well, and you got to stop.
And as ineffectual as you look, slow Joe Biden.
And Schumer and all of them. Fucking.
Yeah.
No, and stop hunting in ways that gets us jammed up like this. You've seen are we talking about the rate hikes?
On the ACA?
Yeah.
We are not.
Okay, so, yeah, because we're stupid. We passed a thing, so it's going to expire in October.
Right. They'll start getting new bills.
Yep. Right before
hundreds of dollars a
punish the
month.
Democrats.
Right. Way to fucking go. And I'm sure somewhere some Republican laughed when they did that to
Do you
us.
remember how fucking easy it was to get 50 Democrats?
Yeah.
Fucking shit.
Well, you have to understand that Munchie and
48
Little
of them.
Cinema.
Yeah, we only managed to get 48.
Yeah. Again, they're Republithugs. We've known that all
They know
along.
where their money's buttered.
Yep, maggots. All right.
No, just good capitalists. No, I mean...
No, they're good politicians. They stay bought when they're bought.
Fine. Oh.
All right.
Tesla's on fire. I love that.
Boomer Rex, it's about damn time. Tell me the good news.
So, one of the January 6th rioters, one of the most defiant defendants, has pleaded guilty to felony assault charges. And part of that agreement is that the guideline would recommend a sentence of 41 to 51 months, which is a substantial prison sentence. It's exactly what the son of a bitch needed. This is a guy, right? He told his parole officer, "I will eat your flesh for nutrients. You don't know what I am." He's been out of incarceration for 2 days since January the 6th, or since he was arrested. Screamed at a judge and court officials. What was this? "Tell them I want to speak or I will die for it." Anyway, on and on and on. So he has pled guilty and can expect a roughly 4-year sentence, of which the year he's been in confinement will count toward his, which is fine.
All right. Dumbass of the day.
So this happened a long time ago, but Doug Mastriano, who is the Republican candidate for Pennsylvania governor, published a highly unusual thesis in 2001 when he was a major at the Air Force's Air Command and Staff College. By the way, Air Force, he should have been ushered out of the military when this was published, and you failed. You failed in every way you can fail the nation. Talking about the Hitlerian revolution by the left and the just on and on and on. And so the point here is that this guy has been psychotic for a long fucking time. He's committed to these idiotic ideas.
Yep.
Rampant drug culture, hedonism, a plethora of alternate religions dominating.
Yeah, the world should be gouged into a bathroom stall door.
Mastriano concluded the military must take action to prevent the destruction of the republic, which he linked to aberrant sexual contact. Again, Air Force, his deciding to advocate for a military takeover should have had him dismissed from the service the next day.
Yep.
So fuck you, Air Force. God, you failed. So, anyway.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
All right. McConnell on isolationist Rand Paul opposing Ukraine aid.
So McConnell was bemoaning the fact that some fraction of the rethugs are isolationists, and he's wrong. That's not what they are. But they voted against the more funding for Ukraine, and we don't know yet whether they will support the entry of Finland and Sweden into NATO. But viewing them as isolationists is wrong. What they are is Putin's fifth column in the U.S. Senate.
Right.
Right. So we need to read their names. Marsha Blackburn, John Boozman, Mike Brown, Mike Crapo, Bill Haggerty, Josh Hawley, Mike Lee, Cynthia Loomis, Roger Marshall, and Tommy Tuberville. This is a tiny fraction of the Republican Party that's isolationist. Hey, Mitch McConnell, they're fucking 20% of your goddamn senators, and the last time I checked, 20% is not a tiny fraction, you babbling fool.
That seems like a real problem.
Yeah. And again, I guarantee you, if you go look at the funding for their campaigns and so forth, you will not like what you find.
No, and you saw like 189, I believe was the number of Republicans who voted against. Now, mind you, Republicans have been all on top of complaining about this baby formula shortage, and we've got to do something, and why are the immigrants getting it, and blah, blah, blah. But when they had the chance to fix it, they said no. 189 of them gave American families
The finger.
that need formula for their babies, not just one middle finger, not just two middle fingers, but the other two arms that sprout out of the blue. All of the middle fingers they could find. They were using their friends, their family, their neighbors, everybody's middle finger.
Yep.
Because fuck you, working class people. They're not having problems. Their families fine.
The thing you
They
have
can
to
get
remember
this
is
shit.
they don't represent the working class. What they represent are the oligarchs, and they're trying to save money so they can give the oligarchs some more tax breaks and make them richer, because the oligarchs pay them to do that.
Yep.
They are the scum of the earth. They are filth.
When asked about it, many of their people, including one who ran for president, was slipped when he was discussing middle class income earners, and he was talking about people making $400,000 a year.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Why, for him, they are.
What is the median income? 46,000?
44.
44.
44.
Yeah. So the Republicans are very, very confused about who they work for, and they've
I
been
don't think they
they've
are.
been playing the gullible working folks
Yes.
for years. And at some point, working folks, you need to pull your head out of your ass, and you need to stop supporting this scum.
Yep.
No, and we've already discussed it. 44.
And again, I'll grant you at the moment the Democratic Party is not always obviously better, but they are absolutely goddamn better.
We've already discussed that $44,000 is barely enough. It is enough for one person to live happy, right? It is not even close to enough to raise a family.
Yeah.
Not even close. So what are we doing? Having one kid making $44,000 is going to fuck you. Just one child, let alone two or three, or having, parents who maybe can't work, or supporting other family members who maybe have issues. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So, fucking, this is just crazy. Anyway, 85% of California fast food workers have experienced wage theft.
So the most common sort of wage theft in those environments is that they make you work through mandatory paid breaks and that sort of thing, but they also don't pay overtime. They, just all the standard shit. And this is 85% of fast food workers have experienced wage theft. Failed to pay them what they were owed in at least one form of wage theft.
Yep.
The one who was complaining here recently received $3,000 in back pay following a series of worker strikes, and they were striking at lunchtime and saying, "Oh, fuck you." So anyway, more than half the survey performance had said they had been shorted more than one form, failing to pay overtime, paying less than minimum wage, asking workers to work off the clock, denying rest and meal breaks, failing to provide paid sick leave, among others. So the idea is setting up a watchdog that will watch this and will report it and so forth, and writing the law so that the national company will be liable
Excellent.
when their franchisees fuck up.
Standing.
And that's the way to get it, is go after the ones with the pockets. And then if
The
they
one
want
who
to
owns the brand.
absolutely, and if they want to fuck the franchisees, that's even better. So
Well, and y'all wonder why people are fleeing the fast food industry as fast as they can possibly apply for new jobs.
Yep.
And everyone's like, I don't understand why there's problems at my local McDonald's. They can't seem to keep people. This is why. This happens everywhere, not just California.
Yep.
This happens across the country.
Wage theft is more money than crime.
Yeah. No, it's fucking
85
not
Or
okay.
we need to double the...
85 billion a year.
Or which is the recreational global use of cocaine.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how those are related.
Anyway, it's
but
across the
give
spectrum.
you a scale.
McDonald's, Carl's Jr., Burger King, Subway, KFC, Taco Bell, Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
It's all of
fuck
them.
them up.
So fuck them up.
Yeah,
Put
don't
some in
work for
jail
them.
if you can.
Don't work
These
for
are
them.
crimes.
These companies cannot open and cannot run if
If
they
you don't
do
show
not
up.
have enough people.
Yeah.
Well, and if you don't think companies that should be able to fail, then you can't call yourself a capitalist.
Yeah.
Hey, that is the fun. That is
And
the
you wanna-
beating goddamn heart of capitalism.
And you want to whine about not being able to get workers? The short answer is fuck you. If you wanted workers, you could get workers.
Yeah.
And if your business can't support workers, the
Then
sooner
your
you
model's
go
fucked up.
bankrupt,
Yeah.
the better.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be doing this professionally.
All right. GOP finds new scapegoat for baby formula outrage.
Yeah, this was the one they were using to
Yes.
explain why they voted against it, was
fucking diabolical.
the
shit.
Women, Infants, and Children program.
Wick.
Right. Yes, WIC. Because see, what happened is that the baby formulas that they can buy were primarily made by Abbott Labs. So when Abbott Labs fucked up massively and then didn't get back online and still isn't back online, it hurt WIC badly. And so the bill included, and again, could only include that because we're still under the COVID emergency where we can hand wave and get rid of some of the federal restrictions, would allow WIC to let people purchase things other than Abbott products.
So,
And
actually
so-
purchase formula.
Actually, products where there's actually formula.
God forbid those poor people can actually get good, nutritious formula
Yeah.
for their fucking children. That's terrible. Why would we
Yeah,
want
I
that?
know.
Fuck you, Republicans.
Again, the Republic thugs are exactly who we knew they were.
How does this
They went
represent
after
you?
they're kicking down again, right? And they're trying to protect working folks. No, they're trying to hurt the poorest of the poor because they find it politically expedient. Fuck them. They are the scum of the earth. They are filth.
America, what the fuck happened to you?
Yeah.
Do these people really represent you?
so
They didn't used to be
I
like
found-
this. It wasn't about kicking down.
I found some interesting information about this whole formula shortage. We used to get a reasonable amount of formula imports from Canada. Trump put an end to that.
Aw.
He fucked up imports by adding restrictions and increasing tariffs. Yes. So that made it harder for Canadian companies
To compete.
Yeah.
to put, to send their formula
So they
down here.
withdrew from the
And
market.
Canada has been wanting to help out with this shortage we're having because, they obviously, money for them, that's good. Everybody's happy. But because of these restrictions Trump put into place, they can only send so much, right? So
dumb.
we need to get rid of this, and I don't see why Biden can't just do an executive
Well,
order
you
to cancel
fuck
this
this
or
up.
something.
This is how you build things that later metastasize into organized crime.
Yeah.
Right, because people are going to decide that that's not fucking working, and getting stuff across the border's never been hard.
Never been a problem.
And here's the thing: the dogs aren't even looking for it.
Yeah.
Like, fucking dumb. Don't. Yeah, Biden can move.
Just get rid of this. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, this is
And
a
again,
simple thing that can be
the
done.
structure of the
to
baby
help.
formula market was guaranteed to have this problem at some point, and there are lots of other markets in the U.S. that are very similar.
Just in time.
And
doesn't
we
work.
we might want to start looking at those and doing something about them.
Yep.
Right? All it took was for Abbott to go offline.
Yep.
And, I don't think Abbott scurried around to get back in production, and they
No, but
probably should have
there's-
been motivated with whips.
Right, but
But-
they are one of 4 companies and one of the bigger of the companies.
Well, they were 90% of the WIC market.
Yeah,
Okay, fine. That's what I thought, but
that's batshit and madness.
Uh-huh.
That's bad fucking capitalism.
And you wonder how they got to be, you almost wonder if
That's
maybe
weird, right?
Abbott paid somebody.
Yeah.
We probably ought to look and see where Abbott's contributions
Who
went.
the fuck do we think is gonna look? That sounds a lot like DOJ shit, and all those cats think they're gonna get, all the fucking FBI kids that they're gonna get to be Jack Bauer at
Just
some point.
ridiculous.
all right. Let's move on to updates with BoomerRex. Health threats. What do you got?
All right, so we're still finding new people with possible monkeypox infections. There's a new group of 6 who are being monitored because they sat near an infected traveler who had symptoms while on a flight from Nigeria to the United Kingdom in early May. So there
Yeah.
are, again, they're turning up. We don't know yet what the mechanism of transmission is.
Monkeypox and we're all gonna die.
Oh, I found information that remember there you were saying that smallpox is being used.
Yeah.
It's 85% effective.
Yep.
To assist in monkeypox.
Right,
So-
except there are no smallpox vaccinations. We haven't made them in 20 years.
right, but you were saying Canada or somebody else was using it.
Yeah, no, they have tiny little supplies, right? Which were probably there to protect health professionals in the event that we did have a smallpox outbreak.
Or
I could have
equivalent.
sworn they used to, when I was a kid, we're still giving smallpox vaccines.
They were, but we haven't. We stopped in 76 and the rest of the world stopped.
Okay, so yeah, I
in,
got that. Okay.
Yeah. So that's another reason that monkeypox may be spreading, is that we are not as well protected as we once were because we have stopped inoculating for smallpox. So anyway.
All right.
Again, we know how to make the smallpox vaccinations, but it would take a while to spool them up if that's what we needed.
Yeah, and I mean, with all the places that we've had making COVID vaccines, I figure you just switch some of them over to.
No, they're very
smallpox.
different processes.
Whatever. I'm sure they'll figure something out.
Yeah.
All right. Climate weirding.
So, United Nations released today that 4 key measures of climate change hit record highs last year. Greenhouse gas concentrations, sea level rise, ocean temperatures, and ocean acidification all hit the highest recorded levels in 2021. So again,
Shit's crazy out there.
it ain't getting better.
Yeah. That's fine.
So we'll believe we're doing something when some of those numbers start to go down. But for those of you who are interested in the 1.5C, yeah, well, that ship has sailed. We will pass that. We will pass it at a high velocity.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about the tornado in northern Michigan?
Yeah, that's kind of far north for a
Even when you
tornado.
go
That's what
look,
they're saying. They're extremely rare, and it killed a person and injured more than 40 others.
Yep.
This was very unexpected, very surprising. Nobody was, these people they don't know what to do. Even my state of New Hampshire recently had a tornado go through a couple of towns, and it was only an F1, but New Hampshire averages 1 to 3 a year. Very few ever do damage because there's just a lot of wilderness out there. But
Well, and they don't last very long.
right.
So.
But this one did some damage, and they're becoming increasingly common in the New England area as a whole. Some of the stories I've heard, even just since I've moved, are getting pretty crazy. I was watching the weather radar today. There was a bunch of areas in Pennsylvania, New York. I think it was mainly New York and Massachusetts that were in tornado watches, tornado warnings.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Well, again, it's simply a measure of how much energy is in the atmosphere, right? That's what causes tornadoes. Yeah, you need some other stuff. So whether you get a severe thunderstorm or a tornado depends on some of the details of the weather pattern. But again, it's the excess energy in the atmosphere
more
that
rolling
is the
the dice.
problem. Yeah. So anyway, what the hey? Get used to it.
All right, so
Climatology means nothing.
I looked up some interesting numbers that I feel that people should hear, because right now there's a lot of, inflation is killing us and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
All right, one of the big things that people are complaining about right now, gas prices,
Yep.
right? Okay, so in 2011 and 2012, the price per gallon of oil was approximately $11.63. It changed by about 20 cents between those 2 years, but it was 111 and change per barrel. And gas was being sold on average around the country, $2.95 dollars in 2011 and $3.02 in 2012.
Right.
Currently, our oil per barrel prices this year is 100.3. And the gas per gallon price on average is 3.42.
Yeah.
So 40 cents higher than a more expensive barrel back in 2012.
Oh, yeah, but there's no price gouging. Just ask any of the oil giants.
Well, but this is my point. This is obviously price gouging, because you can say, well, inflation is whatever, but the cost per barrel is cheaper now than it was then, and they are charging more. So
Hey,
this is
Democrat,
price gouging.
windfall profits tax.
yep.
And if the Republicans vote against it, you got an issue for the midterm.
You would do better selling Democrats on the reason you can't do minimum wage is because you're too busy doing the oligarchs. That would send a lot of them to their voting place.
But no, we were talking about oil earlier on in the
Yeah.
show, and I was like, I have some questions, so I googled around real quick, which is why I was quiet earlier. But these numbers.
It's bad.
If you can't Google this yourself, because Google it yourself. I found it. I just Googled, oils per barrel
some back of
over
the
the last
envelope
10
shit.
years, and then gas per gallon over the last 10 years. And these are the prices I got.
Yeah.
So fucking
and
tell me
again,
this isn't price gouging.
gasoline is well over $4 a gallon.
Out here. Yeah, it's about $4.50 and change.
The U.S. average is over $4 a gallon today.
Well, that's not the information I found on this particular whatever, but so this is probably the lower end of the averages.
And it may have been there was
$4.59
on average, or okay. So again, this is price gouging. We know it's price gouging. When are we going to do something about it?
Price per barrel specifically, because that might be different too. So what they're doing is, what I think the numbers I found were averages since January till now. And that'll lower the average because it was much cheaper in January.
Right.
We won't have real good numbers to be able to point you at until the end of
Until
the
we
year.
pass a windfall profits tax and make them account for it.
111, 112.
Okay. So about the same
Oil price.
oil
Yeah.
prices back in 2011 and 2012. But back then they were charging, like I said, $295 and $302 respectively.
Time to fuck up some
average
oil
over the
companies.
year.
Right?
So-
Who do these people think they are? Right?
It's a bad
And
way to run the con.
this behavior is un-American.
Yeah.
Right? It is a threat to the United States. These
Mm-hmm.
people should be convinced that's a bad idea.
Well, and maybe we can do this with other things, like look at the cost of making milk, the cost that it's selling for, and different items so that people can see the difference between
Yeah.
how much of this is really inflation and how much of this is truly price gouging, which a lot more of this is price gouging than people want to fucking talk about.
Yeah,
No,
oil's
these corporations
relatively
fucked
easy
up
to
so
look
bad
at.
that,
So,
like, it's costing us 40% to prop them back up. They probably shouldn't be in charge.
yeah.
No, aggressively not. But you know, I just feel that this is really important because I just keep hearing that inflation, and I have yet to see any real signs of inflation.
We had some because of the pandemic. We got behind the curve on a number of products, right? And so as the economy began to expand again, people were paying more for a limited supply.
Because that's
Right.
supply and
Much
demand.
of that-
I don't consider that
yeah.
inflation.
Much of that,
Inflation is money is
It-
worth
it
less,
is-
right?
it inflated the prices. Yes, it would show up as inflation in the way we count inflation.
Okay, fine.
All right.
But I
But the
look at
point
that as
was
different.
that much of that has been resolved. What we are seeing is that we've convinced a bunch of companies that they can charge whatever the fuck they want because nobody in Washington is going to say a word to them
And
because
people
they
are gonna
want
pay
to
it
be
because they have to.
paid by those companies.
People need to buy food. People need to buy gas. These are things that we cannot argue with these companies about. We can't
Right.
boycott
But the
them
reason
and-
nobody in Congress is going to say anything is because these are the companies
that are
that pay
paying
them to
them.
do things.
Yes.
So, anyway.
Yeah. This is fucked up, people, and you should be madder than
Hey,
you are. about
Democrats,
this.
yeah. Democrats, you should get up on your hind legs. And if you have members who don't want to, like Munchie and Cinema, stomp them. Drive them out of the party.
Yeah. No,
We
they
don't need them.
They do not deserve to be called Democrats.
No, they don't.
All they are roadblocks.
That tornado took out a Hobby Lobby.
Oh,
Oh,
God!
John's.
God is real!
Got a Jimmy
Oh my
John's.
God!
And a quick lube. And sorry about the person who died.
yes.
Did it take out a Chick-fil-A too? That would just
Right,
fucking make
no,
me
that was-
over the moon.
Just say we're sitting here spitting things about corporations and like, yeah, those
Huh.
are pretty much three that I know have been shitty. Or
Yeah.
I'm guessing on Jimmy John's just because you're a food joint and those always suck.
Yeah.
I've worked other restaurants, so fuck.
Yeah. Oh, shucks.
Oh, a little bit of karma there.
I guess Galwada didn't protect them.
Oh God, no! God was like, go
Get
there. That
'em.
Mother Nature over
Yeah,
here.
trying to
These
be who they
people
got.
right here.
So basically what they got was a directed lightning bolt. Oh,
Oh, all right. We love you all. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. We're sorry there wasn't. I searched for 2 hours to find something interesting to discuss or a fun article that we could read and giggle about, and just fucking fuck off and nothing.
I know.
Very disappointed. So hopefully next week will be more interesting news-wise. Hopefully we'll be able to rant about something other than,
Yeah.
you know, Republicans trying to ban women from, I don't know, being alive, you know,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. That'd be nice.
Well, pretty soon you'll
Change
have to
pace.
cover your head to go outside.
Over the past
American
decade,
Taliban.
443 people were killed at the hands of extremists.
What?
Over that 10-year period, 333, so 75% of them were killed by right-wing extremists.
Don't tell me being right-wing extremist does not cause violent thoughts. I mean, that is proof.
No, it
right
causes
there in the
violent
fucking Twitter.
actions.
Accurate assessment
And we
of
need to
current
put a bunch
society
of people in
is
prison for
violent,
fucking
so
ever.
This is, they've been fed a bullshit list of who did it.
Yep.
No, I'm fucking just done. Just fucking done. All right. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, heart, follow, review. Go to BoomerRexTonight, no spaces on Facebook for fun memes, and a link to our Patreon. Give us a fucking $1. We need an airship. We can only fix this shit if you give us an airship, people. Help us out. You
We
can
need
find
air
us.
superiority.
Yeah, that's how you win, right?
Yeah.
You can find us on YouTube as BoomerRex, or check your favorite podcasting service for BoomerRexTonight. We can be found on over a dozen different platforms, including Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Samsung Podcasts. And hit us up on Twitter at BRexTonight. Also, don't forget, you can Google BoomerRexTonight, no spaces, on Google, and every link will lead you to us.
We should check that out. But
Yeah, do it,
Yeah.
do it. All right, so
Cool.
we love you all.
Thanks,
Enjoy
all.
your weekend. We'll see you back
Absolutely.
here on Monday for just the news on Boomer Rex Tonight.
all right.